Hello, 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 and welcome to the Coaxum Report. I am Terry Coaxum, the host of the Coaxum Report, and I have a phenomenal guest, Kenneth Kendu Walker, who will be joining us today. It is truly a pleasure. Kendu, how are you?
I'm here. How are you, Terry?
I'm blessed.
You know I'm doing three things at one time, so
So I'm
I'm
truly
here.
delighted to have you on the show, Kendu, to talk to us a little bit about your barriers, your best practices, your big ideas. I'm just curious to know how you went from hip hop recording artist to running your own business.
It's
I mean, it's sort of like running a business anyway, because you're managing all of your time and your energy and putting it into, what you're doing as art. So this is, similar to that. So before we get into that, though, I just want our listening audience to know you can join us on Android, on Apple, on Roku. You can join us on Fire. I encourage you to download the OurTV.network app so that you can catch all of our live shows. And you can also simultaneously on WSTX Bloomberg. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us on a Coaxum Report. And Kendu, you may have some relatives that hit you up from the Caribbean or Southeast Asia or throughout these United States telling you they saw you on a Coaxum Report. So be forewarned.
yeah.
All over the world.
I'm 50% Bayesian, so
Oh,
they're
yeah.
got you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Kendu, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got to where you are. I want to talk about a little bit about hip hop recording art. Chuck D, one of my favorite. We're gonna have to go back there, but we're gonna let's start to the beginning. Who is Kenneth Kendu Walker?
Well, first off, the name alone was something that Chuck gave me. So if you say the name, it tells everything about me. So
Yep.
my name is Kenneth, but the hip hop name that I use on stage is Kendo Taff, KENDO TAF.
Ah,
So
okay.
the the Ken is Kenneth. The do can do anything.
That's right.
That's what that means. Can do anything. And the tap is the almost famous. So almost famous. I like to stay right in that section because it keeps me hungry.
Wow, wow. And that's what's up. Because we're going to talk a little bit about that. Kendu, I know that you're going to share some of your nuggets. And so get ready, take out your iPhones, your Android notes, and get ready because he's about to drop you some knowledge, all the way, all the way throughout his career. So, Ken, I want you to talk to us a little bit about, what brought you to where you are today. You have an extraordinary product and we're going to talk about that. But I just want to share with my listening audience some of the barriers that got you to where you are right now.
Um, all the way back to the beginning of the music, it was an escape. You know,
Really?
yeah, it was an escape because we all have that upbringing of a hard life,
Right.
right? Some way, shape, or form, we have a hard life. And for me, it was an escape to write music to help me get away. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I played football, I played basketball, did all those things that everybody else did, but I had this taste for more.
Right.
And I went to a show. My uncle was working at Nassau Coliseum, so I went to a show and I seen Rakim on stage, and I seen Will Smith on stage. I seen Run DMC, and it's just like that's what I want to do,
Right.
right? And I had
Inspired you. It inspired you.
yeah. At the age, I think I was like 13, 14,
Wow. Wow.
and it just how these gentlemen could control the room.
Right.
I don't know if it was like a small introduction to power, but it was just it was amazing for me. And
Right. And at 13, a black male being 13, I mean, that's a huge deal. You know
yeah,
what
that's
I'm
like
saying?
the turning point.
That's right. I want to make sure that, and I'm always looking for male mentorship programs for young people. I'm always trying to tap into that because I want them to see what you saw. I want that light bulb to go off in their head and help them to understand that there's so much more in the world than what's in your neighborhood, right?
Right, right.
Hood being the key to it, right? I want them to understand that they can go so much, so much more beyond that. I remember when I was in the district attorney's office, I had the pleasure of mentoring about 150 kids at the time. And when I first started mentoring these kids, they were like, "Yo, I'm not going to the DA's office. That's Popo. I'm not. I'm not going there, right?" And so before you know it, my detectives downstairs will call me upstairs and be like, "Your kids downstairs. Call me. Your kids are down. Your kids are down." Like they were living there. They loved it. We inspired them. I had some more divas in the neighborhood that we brought together. We took these kids. We had them. We trained them to be moderators and facilitators, and took them throughout all of Brooklyn. I remember taking them to Red Hook, and they were looking at me like, "Are we still in Brooklyn?" That's before IKEA.
Long before, right? And that's funny.
But a light bulb went on
before IKEA.
Before IKEA, right?
Listen, I commend you. You sitting across me talking to me now. Hey, she made it.
Yeah, I had to open up their minds. I had to open up their minds and their hearts. I think the biggest pleasure for me was getting with the Black Cowboys and taking them upstate New York. And having the kids look at me, asking me where was the concrete jungle, because that's what they were used to. They had never been upstate. All they had was grass. We had them on horses. It was like, what's going on here? But it actually introduced them to the world, similar to what you did, that was outside of what they were used to. And 90% of these kids went to college. They went to college outside of New York. And so, having that light bulb go off at 13 is a huge deal. So I want to commend your uncle, for bringing you to a space where you can understand that there's so much more in the world than something that we're not exposed to. So it's all about exposure. It's all about exposure. So thank you for that.
I gotta say, listening to you and how you explain how you took the kids out of their element to see other things. So for me, it was more or less like I worked with MR children for years. During my time away from the stage, whenever I would go into or come back, and I would work at this place where it was the MR children and it was the children that were in foster care.
That's right.
So, being from that world, it kind of gave me I already had kind of an inside look on how to deal, but I didn't have anybody to present these feelings to help out until I started doing that.
And I call it pouring into others.
Yeah. That's
your feelings. You were pouring into them.
Yeah. And it was just, so I get it when you're taking someone out of their element and showing them something different, something new. It's so rewarding.
That's right. It is.
Yeah. It's not
all these years later, I'm still excited.
The pay's not the reward. The reward is seeing the expression on somebody's face who's doing something that they've never done before.
Absolutely. Right? And even more so when you see them go back to that and become so much more. Like they told us, one kid in particular, we here in Crown Heights, they told us, listen, don't even bother. He's going to be a statistic. That kid, I'm proud to say right now, is a detective in the precinct that they said he was a statistic in, and he's driving around a commanding officer. So that's a huge deal for him to let his friend. He's even brought other friends into law enforcement because their perception of law enforcement was totally incorrect. It's what they saw and heard. And going into this new element, as you would say, or going into this different space, let them see that not everybody can be painted with the same brush. And so it was an exciting time. And that made me create something called Coaxum Connects Wellness Foundation. And ultimately, Kendu, it's going to be the Bill and Melinda Gates of the hood.
Okay.
So what does that mean? I want to take kids that are in the 5th grade and I want to take them from 5th grade throughout college and pay for it all and even help them get a job and an internship after college, right? Because I want them to pour into others. So if I'm taking them at 5th grade, I don't know about you. If you remember,
someone's going to play that forward, right?
I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. I'm
talking about past me. Our whole goal is to pass the information because it's not ours to keep.
Pay it forward. That's the goal. When I mentor kids, I used to tell my kids, you got to mentor. If I help you, you got to help 5 others. Period. 5 others. And I'm telling you, I got kids on these streets right now to come back and be like, yo, Aunt Terry, remember when you said, remember that book? I had them reading books like the 48 Rules of Power. They were like, yo, professor, teacher. And I teach at Mega Rivers now too. Same thing. I have them reading things like, how to get to guests, how to win friends and influence people, because I understand the importance of being a holistic person, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thanking you right now, because what you did in the hip hop industry, what you were able to do going back, helping the MR kids and helping the kids in foster care. And I commend you for helping the kids in foster care. And, I have the pleasure now of raising my great nephew from 6 months. He just turned 5 on Monday. And my entire family in that side were in foster care. They were in the system. And having those kids, a light bulb go off in their worlds changes the entire game. They break that generational curse. And so I want to commend you for doing that. And I want to talk a little bit more about now, when you went back to those to MR, you helped the MR kids, you helped the foster care kids, you were able to pour into them everything that was poured into you. Now that in itself, being a Black male, I commend you, because there's not a lot of people out here, and I'm not saying there's not a lot of people out here doing it, but there is not enough of us out here doing it, because I'm always looking for male mentors for young people, especially young men that are 13, 14, 15, 16. I just need them to see that there's someone like you in the world that's doing these phenomenal things so that they can, strive to be like that. I have kids that have never left the state.
I get goosebumps about that, because now I'm about to give it to you. Right?
Let me
I'm about to listen. When the hat comes straight, so with all of that you said, I had an aunt that was like my mom. Right. This was like the best person in the world for me, right? Like, as far as getting a job, as far as staying on a straight and narrow, as far as graduating high school. I'm going to tell you, my story is crazy. I don't know if you got enough time, but you talking to a kid.
Shout out to the auntie. Shout out auntie.
You're talking to a kid that went to night school, summer school, and regular school all in a year just to graduate. That's how determined I was. Like
that right there is tenacity. That's what's up.
Listen. So growing up, we hear about our parents or other people in the neighborhoods that didn't make it, but they was great at something. Right. I didn't want to be one of them statistics. That's you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And I knew building these bikes when I was a kid. I knew building these bikes would be like an amazing thing. So I homed in on what I learned how to do as a kid in my bad days, because I used to steal them and race for them and all that. But real talk, what I learned to do in those days, I took it and I turned it into just something to be proud of when people receive their gifts.
That's right.
So we make money from the bikes, but when somebody's receiving it, do you know the look on their face? It makes them feel like a kid again.
That's right. That's
right.
For me, it takes you back there. It takes you back to the moment.
With that kind of energy, I put it into everything, from the music to the bikes to the movies to whatever I'm into. It's in there. It has to be in the fabric of that, because that's what makes me me. That's what makes me feel good about what I'm doing.
That's what's up. So, I'm telling you. I mean, I remember, and I'm gonna go back a little bit, because I remember waiting for my dad to bring me this bike, right? Waiting on where I was waiting on the porch. My mother was like, "Yo, he's gonna." I was like, "I'm sitting right here."
Yeah.
Right here until I get my bike, right? Because that was a big deal for us. And even my great nephew, he's like, his bike. He's all about his bike. My grandson, all about his bike. Like, it's something about a bike. It's more than just something to play with. It means something. And I think for me, when Lisa, who's also my sister from another mister, right? When she told me about you, I said, "Yo, I got to get him on the show for a couple of reasons, right? One reason is that no two bikes are the same." I was like, "Hold on, wait, what?"
You already know.
Two bikes are the same.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Talk to me a little more about this, right? Talk to me a little more about this.
Intellectual property. Right. So I wanted something. I wanted to put this money into something that no one can take away from me.
That's right.
No one can. I don't care who you can't take it away from me. IRS, I done paid them. Who else is coming? Nobody. I don't owe nobody. Right. I took the music money and put it into what I'm doing. So nobody can come back and say you owe me anything.
But first of all, pause right there. That's huge, right?
Okay.
That's huge. I know you don't understand this, but I'm a business developer, right? And I'm always trying to drop some nuggets. And on the show, I always tell my listening audience what I have to pause and give them these nuggets. You just said something, right? So you got ready. So you don't, you already ready, right? So
Yeah,
you already got ready. So you don't have to. You're ready. So planning, you took the money from the industry that you were able to earn, and you're able to pour it into your business. And I tell my clients all the time, you have to pour into your business.
yeah.
If you don't pour into you, then you're not going to be successful, right? So
Crazy part.
you said it. You were like, "Yeah, I put my nah, hold on. Not everybody's doing that.
If you really want it, you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to get ready so you don't have to be ready. You're
Yo,
right.
you know how many nights I had to rock a oodles and noodles just to get to this point?
Yes.
Like, real talk. People don't talk about that. Everybody talk about how we shining and we driving this and we live. Do you know how many nights I had to sit there stressed out?
Hey, you had ramen? Let me tell you about ramen.
Listen, right? So to go back a little bit, the music, amazing. It
Right.
took me places that I never thought in a million years I would be able to go. Right?
Right.
It took me to a point where I lived in Tokyo for a second.
Wow.
Yo, it took me to stages where I'm sharing the stage with Green Day and Wayne. Right?
Wow.
It took me to places where I'm looking out into the audience and it's over 20,000 people, but I don't see anybody except this one kid standing in the front holding a flag. Yo, insane, right?
Wow.
And for anybody that wants to see that, it's all on YouTube, youtube.com, KENDOTAF. It's all on YouTube, right? But with the music and talking about investing the money back into what I was doing, I came off a tour, and I'm just giving you a segue into how I transferred the money
Yeah.
from music to the. So I came back off tour, and I go to this. Well, I used to go to this mega church out in Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every time I came back, I would see these two more seasoned women. I don't call women old women. They were
Mm-hmm.
more seasoned women that were at church. And one of them said to me, they sit in the same aisle, we sit in the back, and by myself. One of them said, Kenny, you back off tour? I said, yeah. They said, what you gonna do with that money? I said, I don't know. One of them said, you should go do something that something that you want to do. Treat yourself, because I'm one that's always giving. So to
Right.
treat myself is a long stretch.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said, all right, and I went and bought a frame. I went and bought a bike for no reason.
Wow.
Yeah, I went and bought a bike frame, and I remember I started to build on it, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But the little skills that I had when I was a kid, when I was riding bikes, came back into.
That's right. It's like riding a bike. They say once you ride it, you always know how to do it, right? Yeah.
And it was like I bought the frame, I built it, I rode it through South Jamaica. I'm on the bike, and a dude asked me while I'm riding by, he said, "You're a nice bike," and I'm, in South Jamaica, you got to kind of be careful on who's commenting. So he said, "Nice bike." I was like, "Thanks." He said, "Yo, you want to sell it?" Hit the brakes. I said, "What you say?"
Sell it. Wait a minute.
You want to sell it? And I was like, what you talking? He said, "I'll give you this for it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But it was triple what I paid to build this thing.
Build the bike. Right.
So I got off, gave it to him, took the money.
What you walk?
Yeah. Listen. I got off right there, gave it to him, and I took the money and put it back into another build. That was 2,000 builds ago.
Wow.
Right? And when I first started and I was pricing them, I wasn't pricing the bikes at what they were worth. I was just giving it away because I didn't know the value
of it.
What I was putting into this.
That's right.
Right. So over time, I would go to some of these bike rides and see these guys on bikes, and I see them, hover around certain bikes like they were like exotic cars, and I'm like,
yeah, because they are. It's a whole world out there that.
Yeah. But think about it. We from this place, we don't know too much about that, right? We know put a front wheel on, back wheel, chain, handlebars, we go. That's all we know.
That's it. Will it work?
Yeah, exactly, right? But I learned how to paint. And when I learned how to paint, I'm pretty good with fashion when it comes to fashion.
Right.
In that sense, learning how to paint, I learned how to make the colors clash with your eyes.
Okay.
Listen, it's a whole.
It's an art. It's an art. It
Intellectual
is an
property
art.
that I have here is not for sale,
That's
and you
right.
can't duplicate it,
That's
right?
right.
So I would put the sky blues with the fluorescent oranges, or
Wow.
the you know what I'm saying? I just the gold with the red and the black, and it just continued, and it was just like everybody just kept coming, and then pandemic came.
Right.
I mean, I pray for the ones that passed and the ones that got sick,
Right.
and the ones that are no longer with us, But for me, a couple of family members got sick, but for me, pandemic was a blessing for me with the bikes, because, I'm gonna say this, and like I said, my heart goes out to those who expired or whatever from that, but for me, it was like, you ever watch Forrest Gump and you notice he's the only boat floating after the storm comes.
Right.
Every other boat is washed up on the shore. So I felt like that when pandemic came around, you couldn't find bikes. But me, I had like 30, 40 frames in stock. So I didn't have to go sourcing out frames. So it was like everybody was trying to get out and exercise. And that
Right.
was it. It was just, and on top of that, uh, I don't know if I told you this, but I don't think I told you this, but Mayweather had came about and brought bikes from me also. So it
Right.
was two big pushes that was like, get out there. And I just felt like it was a higher power. I felt like they were just pushing me out there. And when they did, I put what I knew to, what I was building, and it just skyrocketed. And it was,
Right.
yeah. And, I learned some things along the way. It's good to know nothing going into something.
That's right. That's right. Because then you don't have any expectations, but the
Yeah.
other thing is you don't have any reservations either.
You already know,
That's
right?
right.
When you don't know nothing going into something, it's hard to teach somebody who knows a little bit about what you're trying to teach them,
That's right.
because they already have their way of doing it. But if you teach somebody that has no idea about what you're doing, it becomes amazing once they get it, right?
But it's hard to teach someone if you don't have an instructor like me.
Yeah.
when
You know
you
what
have
I'm saying?
when you have an instructor like me, I always take people from where they're at, right,
Okay.
and then take them to the next level. And that's why I love teaching. I mean, like you said, we said there's no money in teaching, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love to see the light bulb go on.
The
I
reward
love
is
to
the
have
kids.
students. Yeah, and I'm teaching in college now. I'm in the university, so I'm at Medgar Evers. I taught at John Jay, Bryan and Stratton.
Okay.
I mean, but it's amazing to see the light bulbs go on.
Yeah.
And some of
Yeah.
the students are older than me, some are younger than me, some are my age. But to see the light bulb go off, and all I do is what we said earlier: is pour everything that God has given me into whoever I'm talking to, because
Yeah.
that's my goal. I want to die empty. I'm not
Yeah.
taking none of this with me. Only
Yeah.
thing I'm taking with me is my good deeds. So I want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm pouring all my good deeds
I got you.
into everybody I come in contact with. And I think that that's the main thing. That's our way of just that's what we have to pay by way of just being here on earth.
I
And
think
it's
that's our way of just filling the cup. You
that's
know what
it.
I'm saying?
That's it.
You really just want to fill the cup. When you're comfortable with just filling the cup, nothing else matters, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
everybody will sit around and try to accomplish what someone else accomplished, and that's not really important. What's
That's not
important?
reality either.
Yeah,
Reality.
experiences and filling the cup. Not that that nervousness you get when you somebody put you on the spot and you got to learn something, and that's it. That's the
Yep.
joy, because that little nervousness is going to take you from the thing to the thing to the thing,
That's
right?
right.
And I think that's where we're kind of kindred when it comes to that kind of thinking and that kind of experience with life. I hear you when you're talking about the kids and with the school and whatnot, and that light bulb going off. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. Like, if more people knew that feeling, I think more people wouldn't get involved with becoming teachers and things like that.
Yeah, but that's why I tag them in. They don't have to know the feeling. I'm tagging them in. That's why I'm doing this. The Wellness Foundation can do,
Okay.
because I know that we have access to people that wouldn't traditionally have access to those young people, right?
Gotcha.
But if we are able to expose them, and they're adults,
Yeah.
to what we can do in these children's lives, let's do it, right? So I'm tagging in the professors, and I'm tagging in law enforcement, and I'm tagging in my entrepreneurs and my millionaires and anybody I come in contact with. I'm tagging them into this.
You're
network.
doing your part, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You're
That's it.
doing your part. if it's comfortable and it feels like love when you're
I
doing
love
it,
it.
that means you're doing it. Yo, yeah,
I
that
love it.
means
I
you're
love
doing
it. I mean, we got to take a quick break. He's telling me it's like commercial break, but we can talk about this all day long.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about branding. We're gonna talking about when you're ready, you don't have to get ready. We're
Yeah.
gonna talk about investing in our business,
Yeah.
investing in ourselves, and more importantly, doing what we love. Because at the end of the day, we don't get our time back, right? So we're putting our time into something we love, and it can elevate us to the next level, whether it's emotionally, physically, or financially. That's the part that I want. I want all that. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
All right.
Market in Delhi and Plaza East Online. We are your local hometown supermarket for all your grocery shopping needs. You now have the convenience of grocery shopping online, saving you time and money. Freeing up your time spent in a grocery store, giving you more time for yourself as well as your family. Just simply fill out the online form or give us a call and we will process your order for pickup or delivery. Thank you for shopping at Seaside Market in Delhi and Plaza East Online.
ATL runs on V Plus Energy. We love our home and our people. We at V Plus made it our mission to provide healthy energy to our city, so that's what we did, and you all love it. 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins, it's healthy, tasty energy. But don't just take my word. Listen for yourself.
Man, I tried a lot of energy drinks. Tastes good. That's one of the biggest things. Refreshing and it's not too strong. So I like it, man.
People, it's Alexander Aperture, the commercial king, and check this out, man. We're here with V Plus Energy. Look, try to get your energy up. You out here at a competition like this, man. Field day, you're gonna need something to get a little extra kick, man. Make sure you get that V Plus Energy.
Hey, what's up? It's Clay Johnson Russian, and we are checking in with the V Plus Energy drink. This drink is amazing. I love it. It don't give you the jitters. If you haven't tried it, then check it out.
Energy drink is very good. I like the peach flavor. And so far, I'm trying to see if the energy kicks in.
I guess that energy kicked in. Now it's time to get you some. Visit drinkvplus.com.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
V Plus Energy. With 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins, you no longer have to sacrifice your health for energy. Drink V Plus. Healthy energy. No sacrifice.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the
Yeah.
Coaxum Report. This
Yeah.
is Terry Coaxum, the host of the Marketplace Coaxum Report. I have Kenneth Kendu Walker,
That's
president of Line 3 Bikes. And we've been having a robust conversation around what really brought Kenneth to do what he's doing now at Line 3 Bikes and the love of it. For those of you that are just tuning in, you can catch us on Android, on Apple, and Roku. I encourage you to go and download our app at ourtv.network so you can catch the show later. And you can also listen to us on WSTX Bloomberg, and there'll be a reposting or broadcast on Tempo, our partner. So thank you so much for joining the Coaxum Report today. So Kenneth, Kendu, we've been talking about a lot of great stuff in the first half of the show. I mean, I know sometimes when I tell my guests an hour, they be like, oh my God, an hour. But the time goes by so quickly. So I want to talk a little bit. I mean, I want to recap on what we've spoken about already. You talked to us a little bit about your history and how you started off in hip hop recording artists and how you toured, and you toured for over 10 years with Chuck D. Line 3 Bikes is the love. It's the love of the bike. And you started this not even wanting to sell the bike, but just to have something to do when these young women encourage you to put your money back into yourself.
Yeah.
And you bought this frame, and this frame became such a beautiful asset that got you to where you are now. But I also want to talk about, what I always say to my clients all the time. I tell them to be ready so they don't have to get ready. And so a part of what you did with taking your money and investing it back in yourself, taking the money from the hip hop industry and investing it into your business. You talked about the struggle. Like, I don't know why TikTok and Twitter and all of these social media networks try to make everyone believe that this is instant success.
Yeah.
This stuff takes work. We may get to a point where we're not working as hard, but for the love of it, there's going to be some work in it. So them ramen noodles.
Yeah. So I've seen footage of Ice Cube talking about, you can't complain if you can't put in 5 years with no pay. Right?
Wow.
So I didn't have 5 years, but it was hard. It was hard, but it was something that I loved. And I know transitioning from the music to the bikes, it was just something that I loved. With my life, and I was talking about filling your cup, I like to do things that I enjoy.
Write that down, y'all. Filling your cup. Go ahead.
Filling your cup, do the things that you enjoy doing. It'll be paying it somewhere along the line. You'll find a way to get, financially funded with it. Right. But you gotta, how happy you would be if you did everything that you love to do and you could make money from it.
Yeah, I do. I do that all the time. I do that every day of my life. I love getting up in the morning for that reason.
Yo, listen. So as far as like the love for it, I told my daughter the other day, I would do this if I wasn't getting paid for it. I would still do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you know what it is too? It's a labor of love too. Like for you, it comes easy because it's a labor of love. You enjoy what you're doing. I love speaking, right? Like I understand that my definitive purpose in life is to empower and to encourage other people. So as long as I don't care what platform I'm on, whether it's teaching, whether it's singing, whether it's in a classroom, outside of a classroom, on the stage, off a stage, in a book, if I am empowering and encouraging others, I'm happy. I can do it all day. It won't be work, right? Yeah. It's when that other stuff that I have to do to pay bills, that's that's not so much fun.
But even with that, that other stuff that you got to do to pay bills, you can still find a little lining in it somewhere.
There's an incentive somewhere, huh?
Yeah, a guy that worked in a sandwich shop and he hates it. But guess what he's eating at lunch? The best sandwiches on the market, right? So it's like it's something in everything that has a little silver lining. Yeah.
I love it. And so that's another nugget. Yo, he just dropped another nugget. That is find the silver lining and whatever you do.
Whatever
and the
you
other
do.
thing is filling your cup. You got to make sure that you're
cup.
filling your cup every single day. And those are important nuggets because sometimes, I realize sometimes we get so caught up in the journey, we forget to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Busy being busy, and we forget
I've done that.
for the journey.
I've done that. I've so speaking of that, I've done that to where I neglected, birthdays or outings or attending to something that I'm supposed to be at that I missed because I was so focused on getting these pieces done, right? That I never took a second to take care of the other stuff. I'm always in here. I'm always in the shop. I'm always building. I'm always creating. I'm always doing a render. We have a show that we're working on right now called Ride With Us, where it's sort of like Orange County Choppers and like Pimp My Ride, to where if you hit me up like, Ken, this is Terry, I want a bike, and we start talking, we do the consultation, right? Then I'll do the render.
By the way, I'm going to get a bike. I'm going to note to self. We're gonna revisit that conversation.
That's what's up. So with this show, we take it from the talk with you to incorporate all your ideas into the bike. It's the same way I build, but now I have it in front of a camera on a set in the shop. Yeah. So, and we have the reveal at the end. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You got to share that with us so we can share it. I can share it online on my social media.
Yeah.
And you know what? I also want to share with other people that I know are bike lovers. Because like I said, there's a whole world out there. I remember when I had the audacity to want to run the 26.4 mile marathon.
Yeah, I'm not a runner.
It was on my bucket list. It was on the thing to do. So I did it.
Okay.
But it's a whole world of runners out there. It was like the Road Runners Club, Brooklyn Avenue.
Wait, there were things that you found out. There's things that you found out during the course of getting prepped that you wish you would have known by the time you like the right shoes, what to eat prior to, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had people out there that like walked me through this thing. They've done more than one marathon. It was when I tell you it was an amazing experience. So when you're talking about this, I feel that same kind of high. I'm like, I wonder if bike ride, and it is. It's an art. It's a sport. People do it for the love of it, but more importantly, I remember doing the 40-mile bike ride, right? TD Bank does this 40-mile bike ride. I did it for charity because I couldn't do it for myself. Yeah, 5 borough.
Okay.
5 borough, 40 miles, right? And I remember thinking about it. I was like, I'm not riding no bike that long. That's ridiculous. Who's doing that, right?
You did it, right?
Not only did I did it, when I tell you can do, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I saw places, and I know Brooklyn. Like, I know New York City. I used to work for Chuck Schumer as his deputy state director for 6.5 years. So these 62 counties here in New York, I've known them, intimately, right? Not on a bike. When you're on a bike, it's a whole nother world. And then you think about it, though. When you're driving, you're paying attention to the street. Well, you should be. You're paying attention to the road.
I'm going to tell you what that's like. You ever when you're flying in the plane and you're landing over the city that you're going to,
right?
You're looking out the window, looking at everything like, oh, it's that and that's over there, that's over there. But it's not until you get down to the ground and you're in a car driving through that same 4 blocks. You're like, wow, it's so much.
Yeah.
So off of that, I'm gonna tell you. So we did a bike ride in Brooklyn, right?
Really?
Line 3 bike ride, and it's crazy the way we did it because we had these bands. We did it for a couple of years. My man DeFree, shout to DeFree, for a couple of years. You have to collect the bands. So what I was doing, I was giving a bike away. Listen, you got to.
By the way, shout you out because you gave the Eastern Stars and the Masons. When
I had to take care of my people.
I'm a star, so you know.
This was my first real big give back that I wanted to do. So this bike ride, we had 40 bracelets, 40 different colors that said Line 3 on it. Now you had to go, check this out. You had to go to 40 different Black-owned businesses throughout Brooklyn to get a bracelet. Now, you couldn't go into the business just saying, I want a bracelet. You either had to buy a drink, buy a piece of food, recite a Biggie verse. It was crazy. It was
Whoa.
you had to, one place,
No, that sounds epic.
one place, the girl had somebody reciting an MOP verse. I was like, I love it. It's amazing, right? And people were live streaming it, and I would see people, we here at the Sunsets. One dude had an arm full of braces. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
And this kid that won, this kid named Dash. Oh my God, he dances at Alvinelli. His name is Dash. That's my guy, man, and he won. And I was so proud to make his bike for him, right? Young kid, like 18 years old, black, doing ballet and really nice at it.
Wow.
Imagine that was like, I was like so thrilled and honored.
Yeah.
And that bike ride, they talked about that until the next summer. And then the next summer we had another one, but it started raining and it became like real heavy. So we didn't give a chance to give the bike away. But the prior summer too, 40 different.
Oh, we gotta do that again. Come on. We gotta do that again. Yeah, we gotta do that. I can tag you in. We gotta do that again. That's huge. And let's do it right. And like let's stick a cause to it. So let the cause be sickle cell, or let the cause be something that don't usually get. Let's do it. Hats off. Let's do it because getting people involved and engaged in that way, man. I'm sure that young boy, Dad, I'm sure he remember that. He
still keeps up with me, and
he still remember that ride.
So it's like and we were talking about branding, right? So let's go into branding. It was a great way to brand my bikes. Imagine that if you got 1,000 people riding through all parts of Brooklyn on a Line 3 bike.
That's right.
And they're not even together. So the bike ride wasn't, I made sure that it wasn't something that you would have to follow a course in a line like the 5 borough where they're going through the city and everybody has to go this way.
Yeah, I gotta go somewhere. No. Yeah.
It's all these different places. You just got to go. So you'll see a group of 5 riding this way down Nostrum, then a group of 4 riding that way down Nostrum, but they're going to opposite places. They're all part of the ride. Can you imagine what that did for us? It was so great.
I'm telling you, it sounds epic. It sounds epic. That's why you got to do it again. You definitely got to do it again.
And like I said, back to branding and product placement. Afterwards, I had everyone meet up at the Rogers Garden.
Ah, yeah.
Boy Kev, you know what I'm saying? And Garnett, them two, they're super supporters of Line 3. So what they did was they took Garnett's bike and put it on the wall. So when you go to the Rogers Garden, Brandon, you go to the Rogers Garden, if you look on the wall, there's a Line 3 bike up there.
That's what's up. Yo. And that's important. I mean, having your brand stand for something, right? Having your brand mean something. And that's rewarding within itself as well, right? Mm-hmm. You have your Line 3 bike line, you have these people, but then to go to, the Rogers Garden and look up and see your bike, or to have that conversation with Dash and to hear about that experience and what he's doing now, because it gives you an opportunity to kind of stay in touch and encourage him and empower him to be great, because he's already a winner, right? So you want to make sure that he continues to stay on that path. And he's going to tell somebody else about it, and before you know it, and I tell my students all the time, that word of mouth is still the strongest thing around.
So they brought people back.
Yeah.
It's been people calling me like, yo, I'm a friend of Dash. Everybody's not your cousin. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's like, no, that's my cousin. Really? I mean, how big is this family?
Right. That's just like my African sisters. Every time I go to when I used to keep my hair braided, I used to go to African salon. That's my sister. That's my. I said, how many sisters?
But I would always, give someone the benefit of the doubt when they came to me, and they came from someone who brought the bike. So for me, Line 3 Bikes is more like a family brand.
Right.
It's like a badge of family. Like, there's people. Listen, I was in Delray. Delray is right next to Beverly Hills. Right. So I'm in Delray, and I was bringing a bike out there for a brother out there who took me down to the Inkwell Beach. I think there's Venice Beach over there. Mm-hmm. And we were talking. And while we were talking, I seen a couple of bikes go by. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get more bikes out here. He said, don't worry about it. Once they see mine, once they see mine, they're gonna get told.
Right, write them out.
I tell you no lie. Maybe a week later, Lisa was saying, "Hey, have you looked in the inbox?" And Lisa always choose my.
I know, she on it. She on it. That's why I love her. She on it.
These people in there. I'm like, I get to it. That's another thing. Like I said, sometimes I neglect certain things to finish a project. And she's like, "Did you look in the box?" I'm like, "What's in there, Lisa?" Like, you need to go over there and look. You know, that's my older sister. So, you know, her jumping down my throat is like normal. So I go look in the inbox, and lo and behold, it's like 10 sales in there.
That's right.
And
that's what's up.
I was just like, wow, now it's about 15 to 20 bikes out in Beverly Hills in Delray, California.
As it should be. As it should be.
With Texas, the same thing. People came up, and I hooked this guy up, him and his friend. They own pharmacies down there. So I gave them something that would, as soon as you take it out the car or whatever you're transporting, and as soon as the people see it, they're going to ask, what the hell is that?
That's right.
And the bike was so nice that I got another 7 to 10 sales down there. So it's like, you know, we're still growing. And that's what's crazy, right?
No, that's not crazy. That's what's up. That just means that you have a great product. Yeah. That means that there's a need for it, you know, supply and demand, right? That means there's a need for this product. And I love what you're doing with it. I love that you're not just making another bike, right? Yeah. You are like matching the person's identity with their bike. You're matching the person's life experience with their bike. And so, you know, and you also taking them back to their childhood, because many of us that have had a bike when we were children, we have this certain feeling about our bikes, right? Yeah. And so you're allowing us to live that through adulthood. And so, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, I need a little something for me and my little boy to beat through these, you know, beat through.
How old is he?
Brooklyn. How's my baby? He's 4. Well, he just turned 5 on Monday.
Does he know how to ride a bike? Does he know how to ride a bike?
He has his little bike with his little things on it. Yep. Okay. But he needs those training wheels must come off now, and he has to have it. Yeah.
and you know what? I love to hear young kids just starting out riding. Also, there was a couple of bikes that I did where a couple of dads, you know, especially my boy Rob in Jersey, he was like, "Yo, I want my son to have the same exact bike." And this is the first time I did the kids bike, because I didn't really do kids bikes because it was like, you know, sometimes the parents want a little too much that's not possible.
Right.
And he was like, I want him to have the same bike. So I really had to home in on working, you know, manipulating some things to make it work, to make it look like his dad's bike. They have 2 bikes that look just alike. The son's bike looks exactly like the dad's bike, and you got to see it when they're on it. It's like,
I'm sure it's a showstopper. Folks are stopping like, whoa, where'd you get that bike from?
Listen, and when they're both riding, you're sitting there like, look at that. Like, it's incredible. That's the pay for me. Like you said, with teaching, that's for me, that's the payoff. Yep,
that's the pay. And that's the pay all day. And so this is a wonderful experience. I'm so glad that you get to do what you love to do. I'm even happier. Hopefully you still get to see the seasoned individuals, the beautiful women that encourage you to pour into yourself.
Yes. And they're so proud. It's crazy. They act like they met a rock star when I come in. Oh my God, Kenny, I brought you this for lunch. And I'm like, we're in church. Why did you bring?
Because you're one of that. Because you're that family. You're that family. First of all, you already know how church folk are. Okay. Yeah. Once they love you, they love you. You can go away for 10 years and come back, and they'll still have your little space. They have their little whatever they have for you. It is what it is. And that's why I love my church folk. You know, I'm a member of Pilgrim Cathedral of East New York.
I went to Upper Room. So
Upper Room. Yes. I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar. But one thing I can say about my church is, have me miss a few Sundays. Hello? Yeah, I'm just checking on you. Or I get a little text. This is the pastoral care ministry.
Yeah, where you been at, Kenny? We ain't seen you around. Because I'm like, listen, Pastor, I'm doing. You mean tell me you ain't got time for God? And I'm like, I don't mean it like that. But
Is he related to George Malachi Short?
He knows what I'm doing, and then he just start laughing with me.
God work it out when you can get here on time all the time, right?
Yeah, right. You ain't got time for God. I'm like, no, I do, but I'm, he got me on a mission over here. He's lay off and whatnot.
God and I together on this.
Yeah, we're working on something over here, But
that's hilarious. But it's true. It's true. So I'm glad that you still stayed in contact with them and they're able to, because that experience in itself, that's some generational a generational gap that you'll be able to fill for them as well, right? Because one of the other things that I love to do is I love to bring older individuals with my young people, and I love to take my young people because I need them to understand each other. Sometimes my young people look at an older person and be like, "Oh, that's just." I'm like, "No, they have a whole story. There's a story to this thing. Like they didn't just get up one day and they were older. They lived a little bit. And it's important because we don't want to lose our history, right? Yeah. And we lose our history when we get caught up in everything else except that, right? Yeah. But if you're able to take your bike and literally bridge gaps, because that's what you're doing, you're having people have conversation about something. Folks, I don't know about you, but I live in a big city, and I know sometimes that folks just pass me like I'm not even. I'll be like, "Hello, good morning."
So I like what the bikes do. A friend of mine from Atlanta contacted me not too long ago, and she sent me a picture. So we have videos of the Ride With Us show that's been circulating, and it's on our website, on the Line 3 website. And she took a photo from the show, and she took the photo and showed the classroom in Atlanta, in this classroom where her sister is a teacher. Then they took around and took the video. The photo of the kids sitting there watching me in the video is priceless. I framed to like 24 by like 10, 12 or something, but I blew it up. The kids are like glued to the TV, and they have the TV in the classroom, and the kids are watching one of the shows on how I go from the beginning of the build to the end of the build. Wow. And it's in the Atlanta school system, in the curriculum. And I forgot the name of the school that they first did it at. But when I seen that, like, again, that's...
You know how many lives you're changing? You know how many lives you're changing? Because for every one child...
If you've seen the different ethnicities of children sitting gazing at this, they had to be like 10, 11 at the most. And they would just... You see everything.
They were intrigued. It's like them watching their favorite show. They see it watching, and that's stuff.
And that's the energy I like to put out.
And that's the energy you put out. That's the energy you put out with every build. With every build out, you're sending that energy to that build out. And you're sending that energy to that family. You're sending that energy with that product every single time. And that's what's up,
One more thing I want to say. Don't dumb down your price for anybody.
Nope. Thank you very much.
Listen,
your price is your price, and if the person can't afford it, that is not your customer. And it's okay.
And you know what? When I first started, I was selling bikes underpricing myself. And when Lisa used to be like, did you research the other prices? And I would go to these $4,000. No, I'm like, I can't charge people like that. And Lisa said to me, stop counting people's pockets, because if somebody really wants something, they'll get it. Right? And what you're creating, there's no other. If you create a bike for someone, that's their bike. There's no other bike like that on the planet. Now, if they go to the store and buy a bike, there's about 500,000 of those same bikes that someone else has. So don't dumb down your price for anybody. And I've learned to be comfortable with my price point now, because when we do things as Black people and we're creating something, we don't think it's as valuable as anybody else's product from another ethnicity. We don't think it's that valuable. We can go into the Gucci store and buy a bag that costs 10 grand. We're paying that. But it's the same bag that, Lynette and them are making down the street, and they're $100. But we don't value hers because it doesn't have the backing and the track record of like the Gucci bag has.
That's right.
So I felt like that with the bikes. But then I said, you know what? I'm making something just as great as Trek, just as great as Shimano, just as great as anybody's making. My bike is a competitor. And then when I started to notice my color schemes being copied by the majors, I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Now I know I have something. When you get the majors' attention and they're sending you emails, or you see something that you created 3 years ago, and now they have the same color. I'm like, I did that 3 years ago.
Right.
You know you have something. So you stick to your guns and don't dumb nothing down for nobody else.
And that's great, because we talked about the barriers a lot, and we talked about some best practices, and you're ending it just the way I needed you to, on some big ideas, right? Yeah. Not dumbing down your price, going with your color schemes and whatever you feel, and talking to your customer. And I think that's the difference in your product too, is you're actually having a consultation about the product. You're actually literally hearing what people need or want to see or feel about their bike. The same thing with that father-son bike. Like, that's a unique bike, and they'll walk away with that experience forever. And so I want others that are listening to us today, go to your website, Line 3 Bikes. I want you to follow the show that they're doing. We're going to encourage them to do another show and do another ride in Brooklyn. This time we're going to tag in some ringers to make sure
I got you.
that you're going to get
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Because come on. Brooklyn's big. We got 2.6 million people. We got 69 square miles. We got over 250 dialects. We got this.
It's not only Brooklyn, though, right? It's the Bronx, it's Queens, it's Manhattan.
That's right. That's right. But wait, we can go further than that. What about the Hudson Valley and Long Island? We got 67 counties in the state, right? 62 counties in the state, 57 outside of the 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
So, we talked about Orange County choppers. That's only a little bit away, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some places. There's Erie County,
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch. We got Rochester, we got Syracuse, we got, we got a lot of places for this bike to be at. So I want to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for sharing this experience, because that's what I felt like today. It was more than just a conversation
about a bike, right? Just from the energy you're giving me, I'm cheesing. I need that. Because that's the thing that leads to the thing that leeds to the thing. That's the thing
that'll get you the thing. And that's the thing. And that's just that on that, right?
Yes.
What's understood don't have to be explained.
That's what it is.
That's what's up. I want to thank you, Kenzu, for being a part of the Coaxum Report, for sharing this experience with my listening audience throughout the world. Because they're going to be, they'll get to listen to this again. They get to go in Tempo. It'll be rebroadcast on Tempo. They can listen to it simultaneously now on WXTX Bloomberg. And so, I am thrilled to have this conversation with you. I know we're going to have, this is just one of many. I'm sure we're going to do some more things together. But I want to thank you for sharing your various best practices and big ideas, and not being afraid to say, what it took to be where you are. Because a lot of people, like I said, they want it to look instant. And you and I both know it's never instant. You may get to a point where you're not struggling as much as you were in the beginning, but that was never an instant thing. And so, faith without works is dead.
Listen, blessings. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.